Hey guys, this is Mark from Zerby. In case you don't know, and you should because this is the live Q&A, but Zerby helps guys from all over the world conquer their dating life without giving up their integrity. And we focus a lot on online dating. So if you're here, you're most likely here because you were on our wait list to get into Zerby Tinder Wingman, which is the product that we make, you guys know about, where we give one-on-one advice over text to our team of expert coaches and also give weekly Tinder breakdowns, as well as have a mastermind group and a whole bunch of other features. And as you know, it's not open. We only open it for a very brief period every few months or every 6 months to new guys, just because we don't want to overwhelm the system, because there's so much one-on-one personalization. If we brought in too many people, it would kill us. We wouldn't be able to respond. So with that all said, I wanted to do a open Q&A for the guys that are on the wait list. And I have some questions that I wrote down that some of you guys have answered in different forms, whether it's through emails or whether it is through social media or contacting me directly on Facebook. So I wanted to go over these questions. And if you guys have any questions, be sure to write in the chat and let me know what they are. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and start. So one of the most common questions that I get is, what is the difference between Tinder, OkCupid, Coffee Meets Bagel? How do you message on those platforms? How do they differentiate from each other? Excuse me. And thanks for the guys that are here. It's good to see you. All right, so Tinder, OkCupid, Coffee Meets Bagel, your first opening message. Let's start with that because it's such a broad question, but we'll talk about just your opening message and what the difference is between them. So with Tinder, your opening message, you've probably already heard this from me before if you're subscribed to our emails or read our blog, but in general, you want your opening message on Tinder to be very concise, and you want it to be, let's say, 1 to 2 sentences maximum, personalized to the girl. Now, of course, there's a way to do that really easily where you don't have to, spend lots of time personalizing the message. I know that's something that guys don't want to do, right? You get a few matches on Tinder, and then all of a sudden, you're having to sit there and think about these lines. It's just easier to copy and paste, and I get that. I totally understand. But yes, there are better ways to do it. You don't have to spend tons of time with your opening message on Tinder. And we'll talk about that later. But for now, with Tinder, again, 1 to 2 sentences maximum. You want it to be really concise. You don't want to scare the girl away with putting out too much information in your opening text, because Tinder is more of a, I don't want to say it's meant for meeting people casually, but it definitely has a more casual vibe to it. Now, there's a lot of people that meet husbands, wives, girlfriends, boyfriends from Tinder, and then there's a lot of people that use it for really casual purposes. But it has a really chill, casual vibe, short-term dating vibe. Now, the other thing about Tinder, it's important to mention, is that it has a social aspect. So you can kind of see like, oh, this person likes these things on Facebook like I do, and looks like we have some mutual friends. Because of that, Tinder isn't as sexual as some other apps like Field, which is meant for threesomes. But the point is that Tinder is definitely more casual, short, concise. Hey, we're here to meet up. That's what you're doing on Tinder. You can meet a girl after 1 message. You can meet a girl after 2 or 3. Some girls might take more. But the point of Tinder is to meet up on the date. It's not to sit and fart around forever, right? So that's kind of what makes Tinder unique. Now, OkCupid, on the other hand, it's a little bit different. So OkCupid, in case you don't know, is a more old school app. It's been around for a while. It's a website. It's not necessarily like, I guess they do have a phone app, but I'm not going to use that. I just go use the website. But it's definitely, well, first off, it's on the computer. And the reason that's important is because when you're on the computer, it's expected that it's easier to type than on the phone. So just that alone means that your messages are probably going to be a little bit longer on OkCupid. Now, the other thing is, it's not like Meet.com or Match.com where it's like, all right, I'm here to find the love of my life. But it's definitely not as casual as Tinder. So because of that, with your OkCupid messaging, your first message, it's going to be a little bit longer than, let's say, a typical Tinder message, rather than 1 sentence maximum. OkCupid might be a very short paragraph, 2, 3, 4 sentences max. Again, you do want it personalized to her, but you also want to put in a little piece about you. So OkCupid is a little bit different, not like crazy different. But when I message people on OkCupid, I usually make it like a short paragraph. You know, go into their profile, read some stuff about them, see what we have in common, message them, tell them that I appreciate it, or reference it in some way, make a joke about it, or relate it to me in some way, and just give a little bit of information about myself and lead the conversation from there. Tinder, I won't do that. Tinder, it's just like one short, very, very short, concise line. Now, the underdog, in my opinion, of the dating world is Coffee Meets Bagel. You probably don't use it. Maybe you do, but not a lot of people use Coffee Meets Bagel, but it is a fantastic, fantastic app. It sort of has everything that I love about Tinder and everything that I love about OkCupid kind of meshed into one. So if you don't know what it is, basically it's a app, you know, where you swipe on girls, but it's limited. So you can only swipe, you know, it used to be just 1 a day. I guess now it's like a little bit more than that, like 10 a week or something. But it's a very limited pool. Now the thing is, it's not as casual as Tinder, that's for sure. It's definitely more, I won't say long-term relationship, but the quality of people that I found on Coffee Meets Bagel tend to be a little bit higher, and they tend to be looking for something a little bit more than a casual fling. However, with that said, it is just the quality, I mean, just the quality of people there is really good. You know, the women there are usually very good looking, they're usually very ambitious, they are usually intelligent from a good background. If you're a guy, by the way, who has gone to, even not the best school in the world, but if you have a college education, you work somewhere that's, you know, decent, then I think you can do pretty well on this app. Not that you can't if you don't have any of those things, but it's definitely geared to more young, ambitious, career-driven people or academic-driven people, as opposed to Tinder, which is just like, hey man, whatever. So overall, I really, really like the Coffee Meets Bagel app. It's definitely something to look out, especially if you're like a little bit older. I feel like 25 to 30, great range to be on Coffee Meets Bagel. Younger guys, Tinder is probably going to work better for you, but definitely try it. I think you'll be really surprised at how great it is, despite the fact that you can only get a limited number of matches. Now, I know there's other, and again, your opening line, by the way, will still be like Tinder, short, concise, maybe a little bit more open about who you are. Tinder, it's okay to have a little mystery. You know, in a lot of Tinder conversations, I can talk with a girl and actually never really mention anything about me. Other apps, I feel like it's kind of important to have a little bit more about yourself, but Tinder, you can just, you know, whatever, say whatever you want, really, so long as it's entertaining and casual and laid back. I think that you're going to be just fine. Hold on one sec. Someone needs to get in here, and their link isn't working, so I'm going to send them it right now. Hold on one sec. All right, now the next question that I have written down from you guys is best first dates. All right, I actually love this topic. So I remember Willie Beck and I. If you know Willie Beck, he's a pretty well-known dating coach, and we were partners at his business. I was on the business end, and he was on the client side. But we had very different views. I won't say different views. We had the same views with first dates, but we had different methods of kind of doing them. So he would be more of like, hey, let's go on an adventure. And I think that is absolutely, completely okay. Go-karting, right? It's cheap, it's low investment, it's fun. Another thing he'd like to do is look up like weird, crazy bars in the area. So I know that when I was in LA with him, we were flatmates, by the way. There was a bar near our place called the R Bar, and the R Bar was a pirate-themed bar. Like literally, it had a big pirate ship in there. You had to have a passcode to get in that you only could get from social media. It's like a fun, chill place. So he would go there with her, and there was always some kind of adventure. That's a really powerful thing, really powerful. But here's the thing. The girls that he would meet most of the time weren't from online dating. They were people that he approached in person. So basically, he already had a sense of the girl a little bit. He already knew that he wanted to invest time in her. Now with me, because I was working on his business and I was the chief of staff at Simple Pickup, my time was very limited. So I actually didn't do a lot of in-person approaches. I would meet most of the girls from, let's say, online dating, whatever. So my approach was much different. Mine was based on, I was coming at it from a different way, which is like, hey, I don't really know this person. You know, I don't know if I want to invest a lot of time in this person. So going on an adventure, for me, probably not the best thing to do on a first date with someone from online dating. Does that make sense? It can be risky because you might be in a situation where like, man, this girl, you know, I'm not into her, or like, hey, she shows up and she's not who I thought she'd be. Whatever. Not a catfish, but the thing is, even girls who are really attractive, when you see them in person and you meet them in person, you're like, man, you know what, she's cute, but our personalities just don't get along. Because on the phone, you really don't have a good sense of someone. So it just doesn't always work. So what I like to do with first dates, with people that I meet online, is keep it as low investment as possible. Two reasons for that, and I'll give some examples, don't worry. But two reasons for that. One, and this is the big one, if you don't like her, right, there's no investment, you can leave. But the second thing is, if she flakes on you, which there's a higher potential if you've never met her in person before, you haven't really put a lot of time or thought into the date, and that's important. Now, the second date, do your adventure. Go do cool, crazy stuff. But for the first, really low investment. So what are some examples? If you're in New York, one of the things that I like to do is go to like the cheapest, shittiest dive bar. I mean like the lowest of the low, place where like only old, like super old people go to, you know? First off, it has like a really chill vibe. It feels different than normal places that guys bring her, but it's also really low investment. It's really cheap. I can get a beer for like $1.50 or $2, and I'll buy her beer. That's fine. It just makes it much, much simpler and low stress. And then she also gets a sense of who I am. So I am not the kind of person that likes going to clubs, that likes going to fancy, whatever. You know, I like just chilling at home. I'm a homebody. I like quiet, chill environments. And yes, I can go to a speakeasy, a really expensive, you know, hipster bar, which is chill and, you know, whatever. Or I can go to a really, 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 really cheap dive bar where no one is there, just like an old dude drinking in the corner, and that gets the same thing, same point of my personality across. You know, I'm not pretentious. I don't need to be at a fancy ass place. I can be at a laid back place, enjoy my beer, and you know, that's just who I am. So that gets it across. Another thing that you can do that works really well, surprisingly well, is if you're in a place, let's say like LA or really anywhere that has a little bit of activity outside, invite her over and go for a walk. Now, of course, you don't want to do that if you're in the middle of the suburbs, because it's kind of like, oh my God, is this guy going to lead me to an alley or whatever? But if you're in a place like a small city, yeah, say, hey, here's a great coffee shop. Here's a great ice cream shop. We'll meet there, and then we'll walk around and you know, talk and eat the ice cream. That works really well. And again, while you're walking with her, you can say, do I like this girl? If you don't, you say, hey, you know, that was fun. The ice cream was good. I hope you enjoyed the walk. I need to get back home because I have to do blank. It was good meeting you, right? On the other hand, if you like her, you could say, hey, go for a walk. Say, you know what? Let's go grab a bottle of wine and we're going to drink it on the rooftop. Whatever. So, you structure your first date with online dating to be as low investment, low pressure as possible. So if you want to leave in 30 minutes, it's okay to leave in 30 minutes. But if you want to continue the date, then you can tack on more little things on top of it. So just a little tip. All right, biggest mistake. Okay, so here's another question that comes up. What is the biggest mistake guys make on Tinder? There's a lot. So to answer that question, there's a biggest mistake that guys make with matching. There's a biggest mistake guys make with first message. There's a biggest mistake guys make with every single component of Tinder, because a lot of guys make huge, huge, huge mistakes with Tinder. In fact, I'm doing a webinar soon on Tinder openers. And I actually look at the science, the data of opening messages span out over, hundreds of thousands of messages. And anyway, I do a case study where we see this girl's profile. It's in like 86% of every message that she got is literally just some take on, hey, what's up? Or hey, how's it going? Or what's new? 86%. An attractive girl, about 90% of her messages are the same. So that's a pretty big problem, right? If you are sending something like that, because right off the bat, she's not going to reply to you. But what I want to talk about as far as the biggest mistake, this little Q&A, is a mistake that a lot of guys make about when to respond, because no one talks about this. I literally, trust me, I write a lot of content. I do webinars. I help guys all the time. So I'm constantly trying things myself on Tinder, and I'm constantly reading blogs and checking out what other people are talking about. And you would be very surprised to see how many guys make this mistake and just no one talks about it. And that is, you get a match, you start a conversation, and then you vanish. A day goes by, and then you send another message. What you need to understand, all right, is the way women work is they have a very short attention span when it comes to attraction. Hard to understand from a guy, right? Because a guy, you can see a girl, you can be attracted to her, you can send her a few messages, you can talk to her 6 months later and still be attracted to her, right? Because physically, if she's still attractive, you're still gonna be attracted. You can talk with a girl in high school, be attracted to her, 20 years later, see a picture of her and see that she's still attractive and be attracted to her, right? So that's pretty obvious with a guy. It doesn't work like that with a girl. With a girl, you have a very limited window, the window of opportunity. And this is a very big thing that we don't talk about very often here. Maybe we should. But the idea is you have a limited window of opportunity with someone. So a lot of guys will start a Tinder conversation, right? Knowing that they don't have a lot of time. Knowing that, hey, I need to head out to get some lunch in about 30 minutes, or I need to go do this, or hey, I'm about to do this live Q&A. So, whatever the reason is, they know that they don't have a lot of time to invest, and yet they'll start a Tinder conversation, send an opening line that's pretty good, get her to respond, have a few messages back and forth, and then he just kind of disappears because he has other things in his life that have come up. Well, what ends up happening? Time goes on. He goes back to her. He messages her, and by then he's missed his shot. Because what he doesn't understand is that girl was interested in him, gave him a chance. The guy disappeared, so she lost interest. And then here's the other important part of this story, is that while he was off doing whatever he's doing, she is talking to other guys. And she's found a guy who is most likely more attractive than you, more intelligent than you, more ambitious than you, more successful than you, has better game than you, and she's going to meet him right now. So, the thing you have to understand is that there's always going to be people who are much better than you in every aspect of your life. And that's okay, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There are always going to be guys who are better than you at every single thing. A girl, if she likes you, she'll give you a chance. But if you don't take that chance, what she's going to say is, well, Okay, I'll move on to the next. And think about it like this, okay? This is the best way. Let's say that you go to the grocery store and you go to the cereal aisle, right? There's a lot of cereals there. You might have your favorite, but let's say that there's tons of cereals there, and you love cereal. You love Captain Crunch. You love Rice Krispies. You love Rice Krispie Treat cereal. You love French Toast Crunch. French Toast Crunch. That would be a good one, by the way. Whatever. You love all these different cereals. You go to buy. You're hungry for cereal at that moment, and you're in the mood for whatever. You go there. You're gonna buy some Reese's Puffs. They don't have that. That's okay. Let's just get Captain Crunch. If they're out of stock of Reese's peanut butter cups, that's okay. You get something else. Even if you know that they're going to restock in an hour. Are you going to wait an hour? No. You want that cereal, you're going to get that cereal. Girls are the same way. They might be in the mood to meet a guy at that moment. And they'll start talking to you. And if you disappear, well, all right. There's another guy right there. She's talking to multiple guys. And remember, a girl can go outside right now and get a date. So they always have, it's a different economy for them. They always have options. So biggest mistake guys make a lot of the time is shooting themselves in the foot. Don't start a conversation on Tinder unless you know that you have the time to get to set up the date. A lot of times girls won't be the one to stop talking on Tinder. If a girl stops talking on Tinder in a conversation, it's because she's not interested. If a guy does it, it's because he got distracted. Guys get distracted easily. I mean, I know that. You know that. So if you want to start, you want to set up a date, you start talking with a girl, you get all your matches. When do you start messaging the girl? When you know that you have the time to finish it. Don't start where you can't finish. Go to the end of the conversation, set up the date, and then fuck off. And remember, this only might take 2 minutes. Some girls, it might take more. It might take up to 20 minutes to get to the point where you can, ask her out. But whatever it is, don't start until you can finish. And this goes not just for Tinder, this goes for anything, including, you meet a girl at the grocery store, you get her number, you text her. Don't text her before you know that you have to go to work. Text her when you're off, so long as it's not late, I guess. But text her when you know you have the time to invest. That's important, man. That's seriously important. All right, so with that said, I don't want this to go on like super long. I could just sit here and talk all day. But I do have an announcement. You guys have been waiting for Tinder Wingman to open. We have something like 100 members. And I'm just going to be blunt with you because, I just believe in honesty. The way that any business works, my business is no different, but every business in the entire world is there's something called attrition. You have a business, you have clients. Every month, a certain percent will fall off. What makes Zerby so incredible is that our attrition rate is very, very small. It's lower than any of the businesses that I've been with because the guys who sign up stay. That's why it takes so long for us to reopen it, because the guys that stay usually don't leave. And I think the last time that we were open was, it must have been like September, maybe October. But it's been a while since we've opened Tinder Wingman. But enough time has gone by that we have seats available. So what we're going to be doing is opening Tinder Wingman, but only for 1 week. Now, we're going to be opening it on the 12th, so that's coming up soon. And it closes on midnight on the 18th. The thing is, when it closes, it's closed. That's it. Just like now, there's no way to get in. If you email me on the 18th, or let's say the 19th, and say, hey man, look, you're just doing it for the marketing anyway, right? You just want guys to feel like they can't get in. I want to get in, I'm gonna pay, all right? Just let me in. The answer is no. We're not just doing this for marketing, and I know a lot of companies do. We have a limited number of coaches. We can't let in a ton of guys because we won't be able to support it. So on the 18th, we are closed. So if you want to get in, that's great. We're going to be doing a webinar on Tinder openers on the 12th. And at the end of that webinar, we're going to open Tinder Wingman, again, for 1 week for anyone to join. Now, the thing is with a wait list, you guys are going to get an early bird. Basically, you're going to be able to get in early so you can basically get a seat before other people fill in. Because even though we close on the 18th, if we get too many people sign up in the first few days, it closes. But on top of that, the guys on the wait list are going to be getting a pretty amazing bonus. This is not something that no one else is going to get. So I will be emailing you guys very soon all the details. Let you join early before anyone else does. Get into Tinder Wingman and start making incredible changes. I mean, you've probably seen some of the testimonials, but Tinder Wingman, Zerby, it works. In fact, internally, we have a little Slack channel called #ZerbyWorks, and we post literally hundreds of testimonials that come from our members. Guys get big changes, and those changes stay, because what we don't do is give out lines. We don't say, hey, use this line in this conversation. Instead, we lead you to do the right thing, so that way you actually learn how to do the right thing without us. That's important. I would much rather have guys who get really good at this and don't need our help than have guys on life support that are here subscribed forever. Because the reality is we have enough of a demand, our wait list is big enough, and we have enough people out there that want to get in, that it's okay for us to lose guys because they've gotten to the point where they don't need us. Now, with that said, the guys who do stay on, who have gotten really good results, do way better with being a part of us than when they leave. And the reason is because we have a mastermind. And the better you get, and this was even with weight loss, when you start losing weight, it gets harder to keep losing weight, right? Because you start getting more fit, your metabolism is kicking in, you lose less calories when you exercise. Tinder Wingman's sort of, I mean, Tinder or online dating or dating in general is similar, where you kind of get a really great lift off. But as you start getting better, the returns start getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And at that point, what you need to do is experiment, try new things, break the mold, and be part of a mastermind of other people that are doing these same things. And that's what happens when you start getting really good and you're in Tinder Wingman. You're there with me, with all 6 of our coaches. All of us are always trying new things, getting new results. You're part of that. You're part of that mastermind. You're able to kind of mastermind with us and get gains that normally would be harder if you're on your own, because you're not seeing the reference experience and seeing all the new things that all the other experts in the community are doing. So keep that in mind. But yeah, again, on the 12th, we will open the doors. They'll be open for about a week or less, and they're closed after that. So if you're on the wait list and you don't get in during that week, you're gonna have to stay on the wait list until we decide to open it next, which could be anywhere from 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, until the numbers drop again. Or we bring on new coaches, which we're always doing too. In this case, we did bring on a new coach. Some of you guys might have seen him, Tony, who does some of our live Q&As on Facebook. Cool. All right. Well, obviously, if there's any questions, just email me. You have my email. Any of the emails that are sent to you on your, on the wait list, just respond to them, because I know you on the wait list, and I'll answer whatever questions you guys have. If you have questions for Tinder Wingman or whatever. But one thing for you to do in the meantime, and that is to make sure that you're RSVP'd for the webinar that we're going to be doing, which is the Tinder Opener webinar. I've done a lot of webinars, and Dan, I actually got a recommendation from a guy named Dan, who's one of our members, and he went to the top 5.5 things guys do wrong on Tinder webinar, and after that webinar, he used the advice in it, a free webinar, by the way, and ended up getting one of the most attractive girls that he's ever had in his life from that advice. So our webinars are amazing, and this webinar that we're doing on the top the Tinder Openers, I guess it's called, is quite frankly the best webinar that I have. That I shouldn't say I, because it's a team of 6, but it's the best webinar that we have ever done, hands down. It's an hour long of absolutely incredible content. I go into the data of what works and what doesn't work. I look at, amalgamation of hundreds of thousands of first messages and derive rules from them, and I reveal a system that shows you exactly what message to send and how to strategically put together first messages that are actually easier than spending the time looking for a copy-pasted one. So you will not want to miss this. And in fact, in the chat room, you should see right now, I'll type it in, join the Tinder opener RSVP now. Tinder opener webinar. All right, so I posted the link in chat. And I also put in a little thing, and there's no image there because I just did that on the fly, but you should see that there's a little button that you can click to RSVP for the webinar. But at the end of that webinar, just for transparency's sake, Tinder Wingman will be open. I will be giving you guys via email, I'll email you out, an early bird sign up thing and also some more information. But again, any questions, just let me know. I'm gonna end the live Q&A now because I feel like I'm rambling. But the support from you guys means so much to me. Zerby is really, really important to me. And the reason is why it's so personally important to me is because I feel like a lot of other dating companies and solutions out there don't focus on integrity. And for me, that is absolutely paramount. And it's so important for me to be making Zerby and doing Zerby because I feel like a lot of the new guys who are getting into dating and getting really good at dating, if they're not multimillionaires and they don't, they're not 6'5" with, perfect good looks or whatever, or they don't have a 10 out of 10 confidence out of the gate, which I have none of those things. There should be a way to get huge dating results that those guys get without resorting to tricks or without resorting to, weird crap and routines. And there should be a way to do it in a way that's honest and has integrity. And I feel, in my opinion, like Zerby does that. So that's why Zerby is really important to me. All right, so I'm going to end the broadcast now. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any more questions, be sure to let me know. I will talk with you guys very soon.